Hi guys, welcome to this kind of review of the first 20 issues of Warhammer 40k Conquest. So what we're going to have a look at is I'm going to show you all the miniatures that we've had over the first 20 issues. I'm not going to show you what paints we had, but I'll tell you what they were, and I'll also tell you anything else that we had in the box. So roughly 150 quid's worth of spend, so let's see what we got. Oh yeah, and before we carry on, my apologies at the lack of painted miniatures here. I will do better, I promise. Okay, issue number 1. 3 intercessors. So we've got 3 intercessors. We also got some paint. So that's Macragge Blue, Abaddon Black and Retributor armour. And we also got a starter brush. Issue number 2. We got these 3 Plague Marines. Very cool. We also got Death Guard Green and 6 dice. Issue number 3. We got our first 3 Reavers. And there they are there. Very nice. And we also got Lead Belcher paint. Week number 4. We got our first set of Poxwalkers. 6 Poxwalkers in total. And we also got Bugman's Glow. Issue number 5. Our good friend Lieutenant Calcius. All the way back then, issue number 5. And this, to date, is the only exclusive miniature to the range. So Lieutenant Calcius is, I believe, the only miniature that can only be got through purchasing this magazine or getting it on eBay or something like that. So that's fine. Issue number 6. Exactly the same Plague Marines as we got from issue number 2. Issue number 7 was some Nuln Oil and Agrax Earthshade. Issue number 8. The Primaris Librarian. Very cool. Then, issue number 9, we got another bunch of Poxwalkers, exactly the same ones as we received a few issues before. Then, issue number 10, the first kind of thing, miniature that wasn't a fella, or a little dude. And that is our Foul Blight Spawn. So there's that. Issue number 11. Which was a great issue. We've got 3 aggressors. There's the fellas there. Issue number 12, our Foul Blight Spawn, and we also got a plastic ruler, very nice. Number 13, our first armoured container, and I chose to make this one up sealed at both sides. Issue number 14, we've got a large dry brush and Mechanicus standard grey paint. Issue 15 is Biologus Putrefier. Love that one. We've also got another 6 dice for that. Issue 16 is 2 Intercessors, 1 Inceptor, I think that's the first time I've successfully said Inceptor, because I usually say Interceptor, with a little stand for the dude, and 2 Hellblasters. So that's our first Hellblasters, those rifles. Number 17 is Armoured Container number 2, which I chose to leave empty because I've got a project that I'm going to do with this one. Issue number 18 was more paint, so we had Raykar Flesh and Mephiston Red. Issue 19, which is the best to date, we got Lord Felthius in all his glory. There's a quality miniature, that. We got him, and we got the Tainted Cohort, these Blightlord Terminators. Got 3 of those, and these are smashing. excellent stuff. And in issue number 20, we got our last armoured container. This one I've stuck the guns on, and I'm also keeping all of the weapon caches and barrels and stuff that came with the other ones ready for me to get going. So I've left that one open at one end, just so as all three are completely different. Right, let me clear the decks and then let's have a look at the book. Right, so before we get to the actual review, we've looked at all the miniatures. We're just about to have a look at this. Just important to remember two other things that came with the game. That is our two maps. So in issue number 2, we received our basic map, which had a couple of containers on there. And then in issue number 18, we received our Core Von 2 map, which was much bigger, because obviously our armies are bigger now, and allowed for a lot more terrain and that kind of stuff. So they were very good as well. So, the book. Let me quickly take you through where we are to date. Okay, so I've kept all the covers. Let's quickly run through the covers. So, issue number 1, Introduction to Space Marines. Issue number 2, March of the Death Guard. Issue number 3, The Reavers Attack. 4, Poxwalkers Arrive. 5, Lieutenant Calcius. 6, The Tainted Sons. 7 was about applying shades. 8 is our Primaris Librarian. 9, Poxwalker Reinforcements. 10, Mephitic Blighthauler. 11, Aggressors. 12, Foul Blightspawn. 13, Containers. 14, Dry Brushing. 15, Biologous Putrefier. 16, Inceptor, Intercessors, Hellblasters. 17, another container. 18, more paints. 19, Felthius and the Tainted Cohort. And 20, another container. So let's get into the first section of the book, which is all about collecting information. So we start with 40k history, because this all comes in. So this all arrives jumbled up in different sections of different issues, and only if you put it together in the way that they tell you to on the inside cover of the issues. So it will tell us Add to Space Marines Chapters 2.1. So it will tell us where to put it in the collection. So first of all, 40k history, and so we go History 1, First Millennium. History 2, An Empire Torn in Two. History 3, The Warp. So this gives us a lot of background of what is going on in 40k lore. Then we start talking about war zones, so different areas, and then we start to learn more about kind of the home planets of some of our chapters and that kind of thing. So we go through the war zones. Our next bit is battles, 40k battles, so historical battles that have happened. It gives us again more information on things that are outside of the standard Death Guard and Space Marine. So for example, we're looking at the Necrons here. Some details about them. Battles for the Defence of the Valius. So this is very good. It's got information about orcs as well. So this all kind of bleeds into other parts of Warhammer products, and that's good, because you know, I know that since I started collecting this stuff, I bought myself some Space Wolves. I've got into Kill Team. Bought some other miniatures and that kind of stuff, and all that sort of stuff's good. I like that. The Raid of Relfor Prime, Brotherhood Reignited. So yeah, so this is good. There's 40k battles. Now I've noticed actually, I think this is a misprint in one of the issues. I think it was issue 19. But all of the battles are 40k hyphen battles, except for this one, number 9. It's got Space Marine battles number 9, and because in the Space Marine section I couldn't find anything particularly about battles there, so I think that's a minor misprint. Anyway, so that's good. Then we start looking at 40k factions. So we've got the Imperium of Man. This is a really good thing, the hierarchy of the Imperium. It starts to tell you about all the different Astartes groups and where they sit, so that's good. More faction stuff. Factions Part 2, the Chaos Gods. So we're talking mainly about Nurgle, Papa Nurgle. Okay, so now we start to get into the Space Marine stuff. And we've got chapters. So the different chapters are the different types of Space Marines. So you can see there's lots of different Space Marines with different colours and that kind of thing. There's some green ones here, which are called the Salamanders. But there really are lots and lots of different types. And it goes through quite a lot of these. And there'll be loads more of these coming up as well. So, for example, and I'll go through just a couple of these. We've got the Iron Hands, the White Scars, the Salamanders, the Ultramarines, Raven Guard, Imperial Fists, Silver Templars and Dark Angels. And what a lot of them have done is they've started to go into a lot of these individual guys in separate issues. So chapters 2 is the Ultramarines. And then, so that's good. Right, okay, so chapters 2, so we're still on the chapters here. The Silver Templars. And then we start looking at some of the heroes now. So we've got, and we get these with the issues. So our Librarian is here. Lieutenant's there, Lieutenant Calcius, which is good. Then starts looking at some of our squads. Intercessors, Reavers, Aggressors, Hellblasters, Inceptors. Then we start looking at war gear. Different weapons that our different types of guys can have. Some stuff about power weapons. Now we haven't had any of these. These are awesome. Lightning claws. We haven't had any of these yet. I don't actually think we're going to get any either. You get them. You get loads of them with the Space Wolves. Now Librarius Harmony, force weapons. So he's different because he's a Psyker. He's the first Psyker that we've got in the range. So that's good. More war gear, Inceptors. Interesting stuff about the bolt weapons. That's good. Right. So that chunk of the information to collect was all about the Space Marines. Now we're looking at the Death Guard. So we've got different legions, and again, in exactly the same way, slightly different paint jobs to explain different people, different kind of chapters there, or legions. So we've got Putrid Choir, the Glooming Lords, the Weeping Legion, the Apostles of Contagion. So this is good. So again, it's more or less a kind of a direct imprint of what we've had on Space Marines. So that's good. So we get through the Legion, and again, icons of Nurgle. We already had that, the equivalent for the Space Marines as well. So this is good. Right, Death Guard domain, so where they're from, that sort of stuff. And like our heroes, well, this is one of the champions, the Lords of Contagion. Notably, our mate Felthius. It's a weird bugger him. And again, going through all our heavy hitters, and then finally through our squads. So this is good. So that is what we get in the first section of the book. And I think you'll agree, that is quite a fantastic amount of accumulated information. So far, so good. The next part we've got, which is a pretty small section, but it's how to build our miniatures that we received. I'm not going to go through it, we already know it. Again, the next section, just a big massive paint guide on how to paint these dudes. This paint guide, what will it be worth at the end? I suppose, I don't mean worth in money, I mean worth to you. I suppose it will give you a reference to go to look for areas of different models to paint. I think really once everything's painted up, and it's only going to stick to a limited range of paints. It's only going to stick to the range of paints that you get actually as part of the Conquest. And I know that from the big poster that we all saw when this first started, it's on the back of the poster that came with issue number 1. You can see all of the miniatures that we're going to get. And I think there was 30 tubs of paint on that photo, sorry, on that poster. But what we know now that we didn't know then is that we're going to get topped up with some of the same colours. So we're going to get some more lead belchers, some more Abaddon black, and that kind of thing. So we might get 30 paints, but there's no way we're going to get 30 different colours. So I think at the end this is going to teach you to paint the range we've got, but I think after that you're going to have to look elsewhere for information on future painting. but it's still very good. It's still great for what we've got. And finally, we've got the best section, the play organisation. This is the best section we've got so far. And if you keep up with this and you take the baby steps that this has introduced us, you will learn how to play 40k pretty well. And of course, the other best way to learn to play 40k is get out to a gaming group and just start playing and ask people there to help you. You know, ask for some help with the rules. YouTube is your friend as well. You know, there's loads of tutorials and that kind of thing, so that's good. Right, so I'm going to quickly break down what we've got here. So we've got tutorials, and we've got a new bit with most of the issues. So let me quickly fly through them. So we've got tutorial 1 playing, tutorial 2 moving, then shooting, charging, fighting, something about our units, something about characters, so Lieutenant Celsius, Lord Velthius, that kind of thing. Tutorial 8, units revisited. Number 9, about falling back. Number 10 is when we introduced our psychers to the fight. Issue 11 is moving large units, so that's large quantities of units as opposed to like a big fat beast. Issue 12 is about vehicles, because we've got our Mephitic Blight Hauler. 13 automatic hits, which we got when we got our aggressors, because that's one of their abilities. 14 strength and toughness, 15 terrain, 16 morale tests, 17 weapons, 18 keyword units, 19 redeployment, and 20 deployment abilities. Now, what we found out as we went through it is that we were drip fed some of the information. Back in the early stages, when we went through the fight sequence, it withheld information like charging before we were ready to learn it. It withheld information like psychic abilities before we learnt about them and had the models for them. It gave us only the most basic information in terms of hit points and that kind of thing. So this is so a really good way to get into it. So to go with each individual tutorial part, it gave us a tutorial mission. So let's get there quickly. So your first battle, it tells us what we need for each battle. It tells us what the different phases were. So the very basic things, the only information they gave us was how to move and how to shoot. Then as we went on, we started to learn more about counter-attacking. Tutorial replays, adding extra rules. Mission replays, sorry, adding extra rules. It built us up and up and up and gave us more and more information. And our tutorials were based on the miniatures that we just received in that issue as well. So this, you know, when we got the Mephitic Blight Hauler, we started to get missions about it. So the first one for that one was called Vehicle on Deck, and then the replay mission was called Smite the Blight Hauler. So all of this stuff is a really, really good way to introduce us to the world of 40k. So really, really impressive. So, and once we got, and of course by the end, it had all of our battle phases in there. So that's cool. Now, what we started to get not too long ago was data sheets. So this gives us all of our information, you know, of our individual units. So Reaver Squad, what their movement is, what their weapon strength is, ballistic skill. And this is all to do with dice rolls. Strength, toughness, weapons. You know, all this stuff, their saving rolls, their leadership, really, really, really good stuff. And with their weapons, it gave us what the range was, the type of what it is, whether it's armor piercing, any other abilities that they've got. So really, really cool stuff. And what I liked about it as well is that when they gave us this, they made it all one-sided. And they call it heresy, but some people like to cut these out and laminate them, and then they only have to actually physically flip through the models they've got on the board. And I like the option of doing that, you know. I wouldn't do it myself, but you know, I can see why people do that. and we are up to date more or less with our data sheets. So that's where we are now. These are just the back covers that that I won't throw away because I'm a hoarder. But so that's where we are. That's where we are to date. That is the entire range up to date. Now, I don't know how you guys are storing your stuff, because you know it's a lot of gear. I have resorted to buying like plastic containers with lids and stuff, and I've got a load of other stuff for Kill Team and all that sort of kind of thing. I actually went a bit wild in the first few issues while it was cheap and bought a ton of extra guys. And also when I was at Warhammer World a couple of weeks ago, I'll have a video coming up about that soon, picked up some extra stuff as well, some nice things, so that's good. But yeah, now, so up to issue number 20, we're about 150 quid in. That's what we've invested into the project so far, and I have to say I'm really pleased with it. I think it's excellent. I think it's great value for money. I think that it's a great hobby to get into anyway. It's a good hobby to get your kids into as well, you know, keeps them off the street and stuff, if a little expensive traditionally. But then, you know, what we initially did when this first came out, me and a good friend of mine, we decided that what we were going to do the subscription. I'd pay half and he'd pay half. He'd get the Death Guard stuff and I'd get the Space Marine stuff. And then after about 2 issues, we both loved it so much that we both decided at exactly the same time, no, screw you, I want it all. So that's what we did. So we both started buying the full lot in one go. But yeah, so it's good value for money. The quality of the components are good. So the miniatures are Games Workshop miniatures. They are not some sort of cheap knockoff or copy or anything like that. They are the miniatures. The maps are good. They're interesting. I like those. The quality of paper that this stuff's printed on is good. It is good. It doesn't feel like it's gonna rip out of the binder or anything like that. If I had to score Conquest to now, I would say 10 out of 10 for me. I know some people feel very differently about it though. So this is what some people find difficult about it. In one issue, in fact, let's look at the issues. So £1.99 got you 3 models, 3 paints and a brush. I don't think there's a sane person on the planet that could say that's not a good deal. Issue number 2, 3 models, 1 paint, 1 brush. Fantastic value. Issue number 3, 3 models and a paint. Again, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that at all. Issue number 4, 6 models and a paint. Again, no issues. But we will soon get to what people started to get fed up with pretty quickly. Issue 5, a exclusive miniature, £7.99. I think if you buy Lieutenant on its own, I think you're looking at about 15 quid. So that's awesome. So this was the first issue. Issue number 6. This is when I first started to hear a bit of murmuring of people not being happy, and that was what we got: the same 3 models as we had in a previous issue, less a tub of paint. And these 3 models and the tub of paint previously was £4.99, and this was a few quid more with less stuff. Now I would say 3 models for 8 quid is still good value, but some people just couldn't take the rough with the smooth. You know, they couldn't see the value in the collection. They can only look at the individual. Issue number 7 was a shade brush and 2 shades of the larger pots. Again, I think that fell into some people weren't happy with it. For some reason they wanted more. So no, 4 quid's worth of brush and 4 quid's worth of paint and 6 quid's worth of brush for £7.99. Some people weren't happy with it. Issue 8, a librarian for 8 quid. great value. Issue number 9, again, people didn't like it. More Poxwalkers, and it was exactly the same cast again as we received, so it wasn't a different range of Poxwalkers, it was the same ones we already had. Some people didn't like that. Issue number 10, the Mephitic Blight Hauler. Some people thought it was okay value. Some of us thought it was really good value and bought a ton. And I will stress, I didn't go and raid WH Smith, and I didn't rob anyone else's copy to do it. I spoke to my news agent and asked him to get some extras in. So that was a real kind of a fantastic issue for me. So that was great. Issue 11, our aggressors, 3 aggressors, brilliant. Issue number 12, Foul Blight Spawn, again a character for £8, great value. Right, so our first container. So a container, 3 barrels and 4 ammunition crates. When we first got it, everyone loved it. The first issue got it, we loved it. Number 14 was just a dry brush and a base paint. And again, there was some murmurs that people weren't happy about that. Issue 15, again another character for £8, the Biologous Putrefier, fantastic. Issue number 16, this was the best value for money for me to date, because it's not for much in terms of what it would cost in Games Workshop or places like that, but it's just because we got one new model which we hadn't had before, which was our Inceptor. 2 intercessors start bulking up our squad, and another 2 models which we hadn't had before, which is our Hellblasters. So I thought that was excellent. 17, again, a few people pissed off at just getting containers again. Number 18, we've got a playmat. What else did we get? Oh yeah, playmat, Mephiston red and 1 other colour, Rakar Flesh, that was it. 19, fantastic issue. Lord Felthius and the Tainted Cohort. I still have a copy of this available. It's I'm running a competition for it. All you need to do is find my review of issue number 19. And if you make a comment in that video and you're a subscriber, I'm doing a draw next week to win a copy of that. So that's good. And then issue number 20, again, a few murmurs of people not happy because we get containers again. But for me, 10 out of 10 for this first range, for issues 1 to 20. I don't know what the value split actually is, but I imagine that for that £150 or £152 investment, it's got to be 250 quid's worth of stuff. So that's impressive for me. And the other thing that people forget is that there is good value in this volume of information that we're given. It's not just about the miniatures we get, it's the shit we're learning as we go through it as well, you know. It's really, really good information here. And I think some people just see this as being a byproduct of getting these, and it's not the case. These are genuinely good volumes of information, very, very good. So there you go, that is my thoughts on the first 20 issues. I absolutely love it. I think it's very impressive, and I will catch you next week for my unboxing / review of issue number 22. See you later.